We talk a lot about electric cars.
Electric cars, all kinds of electronics, all kinds of talk about tech here. That's
About tech, yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's what's important because all tech uses Wi-Fi. All these cars have Wi-Fi. They all rely on
True.
it for software updates.
This is
Um,
very true.
as does everything else in as we'll see today. But so last weekend we went out to the IONNA event, the 2-year event in Simsbury, and it was cold, man. It was like 11, 12
Simsbury, where?
Connecticut.
Simsbury, okay, Connecticut.
Yeah, so
Got
we went to the Simsbury, Connecticut location. Out of Spec Dave came out, and surprisingly, a lot of people came out for this event. They had 20 cents per kilowatt hour charging, which is less than you pay at home here in Connecticut. Um, so we had quite a
Yeah,
few
it's
people
really
come
cheap.
out. Yeah, yeah, we gave away some frozen donuts. Um,
Yeah,
we had to cut the
exactly.
Rivian, and yeah, we had donuts, some snacks. We gave out some hats. So it was a pretty fun time, even though it was cold. Like I had the car set at like 80 degrees inside. We'd have to go inside and like warm up every few minutes.
Now, do they at that location? I thought those locations had like a store kind of set up, or they didn't have that, or
Not at this one. This is a relay, so it's basically just the chargers. Is not most of them have canopies, and they have a little convenience store you can go in. I saw some like the site down in Pennsylvania. It had like a Sheets there, like a kind of
Yep.
convenience
Yeah.
store. And I think
Yep.
people were going. They took the whole thing inside, so we didn't have that luxury in Connecticut. There was a Chili's there where we went and had lunch. Some of the guys went over and had lunch at the Chili's, and we warmed up in there. Then we went back out, and there was a bunch of more people. The chargers were like full. Um, so yeah, some of them have a store, an area you can go inside, bathrooms. Um, but this one just had the chargers, and even though it was like 10 degrees out, all the chargers were working just fine. We weren't charging at like full speeds. Um, and I don't know if you knew this, but I came in at 1% with the
Oh,
Tesla.
you did? No, I did not know
I,
that.
I didn't tell you this. So yeah, I planned it. I left home with 19%. And it's like 30 miles away somewhat, so I planned I could make it, but when I left it,
Wait, you did 30 miles at 19%?
yeah, I mean, the rule is in the worst case scenario for the Tesla Model 3 is you could get about 2 miles per percent. That's what I figure. Like
Okay.
in the worst case, cold, cold battery, everything, you still get, about 2 miles per percent. So I had it planned that I'd get there like, around 1% or whatever. But when I was leaving, it said 0%, -1% on arrival. So I was like, oh boy, I better turn the heat off. So I had the heat off for like the first half of the trip until my toes started freezing.
Damn.
And then and it was actively snowing out. Like we got a snowstorm that day last Saturday. So we were going slower than normal anyway. So as long as I stayed under like 55 on the highway, I'd get
Yeah.
there, and that you couldn't go any faster because it was like snowing.
So did your rule apply then in this scenario,
Yeah,
or?
pretty much. It was the worst case scenario. My battery wasn't frozen. I had it plugged in so that it was warm, but not fully preconditioned for supercharging. And the battery was low enough that the Tesla didn't start preconditioning until about 2 to 3 miles away. So when I got there, I still charged it about 180 kilowatts.
Yeah.
Um, but at once it got to 10%, it should have went up to like 250 if the battery's fully warm. Um, but I didn't see that, and the Rivian charged pretty much the same speeds. And Brandy came in at 26% with the battery fully preconditioned. I don't know if it was like at full temperature. It probably wasn't still. Um,
Yeah.
but she charged at like 182, something like that. So it was fine. They all worked great. The thing you don't want to do is get to a DC fast charger and have it not work when it's cold like that,
Oh, yeah, that would not
because
be,
the
yeah.
display freezes or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that would be
Um,
good.
these were
So
all
they
large.
work. They all totally worked fine then.
Yeah, they all
So that's
totally worked fine. No one had any problems. That the charging speeds are a little lower than normal, but yeah, that was a great test because in that cold temperature, some chargers have problems. Like some Electrify America chargers would like freeze up and not work at all, and that's exactly when you need them to work the most when it's cold out.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and like our batteries weren't frozen. Like if you came out there with a frozen battery, say it was like 10 degrees out, you didn't
Yeah.
precondition, it was like a mile away, you just drove there and plugged in, it'd probably take it a good like 20 minutes before it would start charging. You'd have to warm the battery first.
Where do you go when you're driving? Where do you go to precondition if you're driving already?
Well,
or,
I
do,
would
or do you
say,
set it in the navigation and it
yeah.
knows?
As soon as you set it in the navigation, the Tesla will automatically precondition. And
Right.
it'll do that for superchargers and any third-party chargers like IONNA that's in the nav. But the rule, like if I'd say if you don't have charging at home, let's say you're a rideshare driver, um, and let's say you're in Chicago or somewhere where it's like 10 degrees, your battery's totally frozen, you come out in the morning, your battery's pretty low and frozen. You don't want to just go to the closest supercharger because like all the other
No.
rideshare drivers are probably going to go to that one too, and then their batteries aren't warm yet, so they'll have to sit there and at the charger longer than they would have to, right? So I would say like set your nav for like one that's outside the city, maybe like 20 minutes away,
Yeah.
that you have a chance to precondition before you get to that charger. And then there's probably also less people waiting in line because it's a little bit further away.
Huh.
So yeah, when it's cold out, you have to do a little planning. But if you have charging at home, it's like zero issue.
Yeah, I never use it. So like on the navigation, I'm thinking
Yeah,
about myself now. On the navigation, when you're just basically you don't have to put in the address. You just tap the little icon for the charging station, right?
yeah.
And that's good enough. Yeah, I think I've done that only a couple times, and I haven't had to do it. So
Yeah, it'll route you right there. So if you do that, your battery, you'll see preconditioning probably start immediately. If
yeah,
you go
yeah,
route right to the charger, and there's a route planner or a trip planner on the Tesla navigation settings. If you turn that off, it'll let you like navigate directly to a site. That's what I did. Otherwise, it will try. My battery is that low like that. It's going to try to route me to a supercharger first to charge up when you
yeah,
have trip planner enabled, right? It's going to be like
yep.
it's automatically routing you to the closest one. But if you
Yeah,
want to
which
do
is
stuff
really
like that,
which is really cool.
yeah, it is really cool. And I usually leave that on, and you just set if you have the trip planner on, you just set what you want your minimum state of arrival for the battery. You want it at 10%, and it will automatically calculate that you're gonna get there at 10%. It's gonna pick the closest one to do that. So makes it easy. You don't have to really think of anything if you have that enabled. But yeah, it was a cool event. Glad I went out there. And everyone that came out, thank you. Um, we still have a lot of granola bars that Randy got and other swag. So maybe he wants any, let me know. All right, so another big thing this week is the R2, Rivian R2. So they had like a press event where they had a few YouTubers, do like a test drive of it. Still not a lot of info out, but we got a little bit of specs on it. So the dual motor is going to do 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. 636 horsepower for the dual motor, and there's going to be a tri motor also.
Oh, so that's going to be even faster.
Yeah, that's going to be even faster. That's going to be like the quad motor R1, right? So
Yeah,
it,
that's
it
the one
and
I'm
it's going to
driving.
launch sometime in like Q2 spring. Starting price 45,000. Now that's the kicker there, like because that's going to be probably the single motor, base trim 45,000. We'll see how soon after launch they're shipping those. But if they're like Tesla, they're going to wait until all the demand for the dual motor, the more expensive trims, slow down. Then they'll, try to pull another lever and get that $45,000 rear, single motor R2 out. But some pretty good initial reviews. Doug DeMoro, Marquise Brownlee, and they had the Car Wow guy do it also. You know that guy.
I watched that one as
Yeah,
well.
he's good. He came over to test it also. So yeah, those guys are pretty good. They didn't have a lot of other YouTube channels on there. It was interesting. They only did they're very particular. I think they didn't want too many people checking it out yet. These are pre-production units, but that's great. And they just announced their 2025 numbers. So they had like their first profitable year, 144 million profit in 25 versus a loss of 1.7 billion in 24. So they're moving to profitability, and they have this mass market vehicle that's coming out. So it's good for Rivian.
Yeah, they're hovering right around $17 right now on
Free
stock.
market free market.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see what it opens at. I think it'll go up. We're big fans, so we'll see what happens there. All right, so another big story that we actually can have some input on is the Ring or the doorbell cam for Savannah Guthrie's mom. How they recovered that thing, or they're recovering the footage off of it. Right. This is
No, wait. They said they brought somebody in? They caught somebody, but I
Oh,
mean,
did
I
they?
haven't been following the story.
All right. Well, don't worry, Brian, because my mother watches it nonstop. That's all she talks about. So yeah, it has been on the news like nonstop. If you turn on a news channel, that is all they're talking about. So I don't know if they cost them. I think they had a person of interest. They let them, they let them go. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But there's been some. They recovered some footage from the camera. Now, this isn't a Ring doorbell camera. It's a Nest, Google camera, right? So they, who knows how they manage their cloud. They may do it a little differently. That all these companies do it a little differently. But supposedly there's no subscription on it, right? So if you don't have a subscription, there's no footage. Like you and I, we have
Right.
Ring doorbells. We don't have the subscription. It just like alert you if someone rings the doorbell or if there's motion or something, right? Which is all we need it for, because we have a bunch of other cameras. Like I have 8 cameras outside, right, including the EnGenius cloud cameras. So yeah, I don't need to store it. A lot of people probably don't pay that $100 or so a year subscription, right? But then what happens if an event like this happens where there's some kind of home invasion, you don't have the subscription, the authorities want to get some evidence, but how do they get that? Now it sounds like they're not releasing too much information, right? They want to keep it on the down low. But it sounds like the guy that went out there, he took the camera off the house. Okay. He tried to grab some bushes in there. He tried covering up the camera with some bushes. And I guess that didn't work. So then he took the camera off the house, and it sounds like he didn't take it with him. Sounds like he threw it away somewhere, and then they recovered it. Okay. So
That's so stupid.
yeah, I mean that's kind of, I mean, it's a bad move. He didn't want to have the evidence on him, I guess, either, right? Like they didn't want him to have the camera, but it sounds like law enforcement recovered the camera, and they recovered some footage off the chip somehow, right? So maybe it's not fully encrypted on the chip. I know EnGenius does encrypt it, right? The data on the chip.
Not on the ECC 100 and the 120. We will have encryption on the ECC 500.
Okay, so that's like the high security one.
Yeah.
So basically, they're also saying that like there was like some in the process of the video clips, when there's motion detected, it'll push like a notification up to the server, and they may store like some transient data for a number of days, even if you don't have the subscription plan, right? So that's
right.
how they could possibly recover some more. But I did a little digging, and the Ring video doorbell actually has an option for end-to-end encryption. So if you want to make sure that no one can see your video, you can enable this end-to-end encryption option. It's kind of hard to find, and that means that the video from the doorbell only go to your authorized device. It's using like a, you know, encryption key pair, so that it'll only go to your devices that you authorized, and even Ring or FBI or no one else is going to be able to see your footage, right? Um, now I don't even know why you'd want to enable that.
Yeah.
You're some sort of like privacy freak or something, because you want to have
Something's going on there.
that if something like this happens.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think I would try to. I wouldn't. I wouldn't turn that feature on.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
way.
I don't see the reason for it, but it's there. It's nice that they have it there, and I know, like the Ring doorbell inventor Jamie Siminoff, he commented on this a little bit too, and he said that if it was a Ring doorbell, they wouldn't retain any data, like if you didn't have a subscription, right? But there's a bunch of different.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing to say during that. For this event, like it's a good thing that the
In
Nest
this event,
stored the.
it's a good thing that they had the footage, and we wish the families well. Hopefully, they find her. And the in this event, it's a good thing, but I can see it bringing up privacy concerns down the road, that people are
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
yeah,
wait, I don't want any of my footage out there."
yeah, yeah.
I even over the weekend, like Ring was talking about, I think on the Super Bowl, they had a commercial that you could enable this feature where it would find lost dogs. It was like a dog tracker, and
Oh yeah,
they would use the footage from your camera, to basically like identify a dog, right? And
yeah,
and
yeah. We
people
have
are,
that. We have the AI in embedded like within our system too.
yeah, and then
Like you can identify like specific animals and things.
yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
which
So,
is
but
cool.
people were talking about privacy over that. Like, if they can identify a dog, they can identify a person. They're
Yeah,
like, well, we don't have that feature. It's just for dogs. Like, so these things bring up a lot of concerns with a lot of groups of people. I guess I don't know, but as far as the InGenius cameras, how do they work? They do store local data on the chip, and in the cloud if you have a pro subscription, right? You can
yeah.
store.
We were kind of just talking about that. Yeah. So the all the cameras, the ECC 100, the 120, and the 500 all have onboard memory, and it can
Yeah.
and all your footage is stored on the camera itself.
Mhm.
You do have the ability to disable that and offload the video onto like a MVS system or like a server, so you can
Yeah.
store it somewhere else. So you do have that ability to do that. But yeah, out of the box, it stores right on the camera itself. Like you get about depending on the camera, you get about 20 days, 20 some days of footage, depending on what type of footage it is.
It
The 500, you get even more. There's more memory on the 500, so you can get more days out of that one than the 100 and the 120.
and it does store the metadata in the cloud. So if someone did like
Yes.
grab that camera, by default they would still see a bunch, still be able to recover a bunch of like thumbnails and things like that in the cloud, to
Yeah.
see who did it. And there's a tamper resistant screw on these cameras, so that once it's installed, you're not just be able to pull it off. It's going to be a
Yeah.
special tool.
It's going to be a pain in
It's going to be
the
hard. It's going to be hard to, it's not just be able to rip it off the wall like a Ring doorbell or something, right?
and the memory is embedded in on the board,
On the
so
chip,
it's
yeah.
yeah on the chip. It's not. It's very difficult to pull off to get the footage anyway.
Yeah.
And another thing to kind of talk about too is like if the camera was taken or was taken, if you dereg, it will delete all the footage.
It'll reset it to default, delete all the footage. Yeah.
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 So
So,
when it's plugged back in, it's going to erase all the
oh,
footage.
that is good. That's good to know. So if someone steals your cloud camera, it's registered in your account. You just have to go in the InGenius cloud and then dereg it. As soon as that thing's not going to be useful unless it's added to the InGenius cloud. So as soon as it gets internet connectivity, it's going to go out and basically reset itself to
It's
default.
Yeah, because it's going to go, okay, I need to go to whatever account, right?
Yeah,
Whoever took it.
right.
And if they don't have an account, it's going to self default basically.
And if you don't dereg it and someone else hooked it up, you would actually be able to see where they
You
are.
would
Like,
see it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you'd be like, oh, this is who took it.
You yeah, you could find it. Yeah, that'd be funny actually, but
So
funny not funny.
I'd probably wait for that because they won't have access to it anyway, unless you until you dereg it.
That's right. Exactly right.
All right, so that's our little take on the Ring video doorbell or the video doorbell camera. There's a bunch of different manufacturers. They probably all do things differently. Hopefully, they do catch this guy. This is terrible for the family and everything. So hopefully, this transient data helps them catch this guy.
Yeah.
All right, so now we want to talk about some ingenious cloud things. Now, you were talking about the
Yeah.
gateway that they're adding an IDS IPS system. We started looking at it, right?
Yeah, but first I want to talk about there's a really important feature that's out that not all vendors are supporting right now,
Okay.
which is supporting my we call it my PSK, but it's like a private pre-shared key. So we're supporting my PSK in WPA2/3 mode, so WPA3 mode, which is a big deal because not everybody's doing it. I think Ruckus does it. I think now we do it. I'm
Hmm.
not sure if other vendors are doing it, but that's a really critical um, feature to highlight because if you're using Wi-Fi 7 and you're using tri-band, you're using 6 gigahertz, you have to use WPA3.
Right.
But if you're in a MDU and you're trying to use tri-band or like the 6 gigahertz of Wi-Fi 7, you have to use WPA3. But a lot of companies are not supporting their my PSK version with WPA3, and I think like I said, Ruckus does it, and we also do it. So now you can go into like the MDUs and you can use our my PSK with WPA3. So that's a big highlight. I'll probably put this up on LinkedIn, but yeah, people should know that.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. So you start talking about another one around the gateway.
Well, real quick though, let's just explain my PSK. So if if you have a standard Wi-Fi network with a pre-shared key, there's one password for the whole SSID, right? You have one passphrase, and you'd have to give that out to everyone that wants to get onto that SSID, right? Um, and what happens if someone leaves, someone quits, someone moves out of the MDU? You don't want to have to change that entire password every time, and you
Right.
don't know who is actually accessing the network either, right? Just one PSK, you do get their MAC addresses, but it's not linked to a single person, right?
Right. Exactly. You could eventually find it through the Mac, I guess. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a lot of research, but yeah, the nice thing about my PSK, think of it like an office environment. That's the best way. Like in our office, for example, we have InGenius as the SSID. You come in, you log in, and all the employees know this. We all use the same password versus like using my PSK. When I come in, the password I'm using for Wi-Fi, still the same SSID. It's InGenius, but my password is going to be different than your password, than somebody else's password. And then I can set it to expire or I can change it per user. So each individual has their own private pre-shared key. And then also I can put that individual on their own VLAN as well. So I
Yes.
can put them on their own virtual LAN.
Yeah.
So think of that, a small business, right? But now think about it in like student housing, for example, and multifamily, like apartment complexes, and senior living, assisted living. Anybody that's coming in and staying for like a longer period of time, like a semester, or they have an annual contract, like maybe a year or a few months, you're going to use my PSK. Like you're not going to use my PSK. I haven't seen it anyway in like hospitality, for example, but like in
Mhm.
MDU situations, that's where this really comes into play. And WPA3 is really, really secure and operates on Wi-Fi 6 devices, but more importantly on Wi-Fi 7 on 6 gigahertz. as well. So you have to keep those things in mind.
Right. So, all right. So yeah, that it's a great feature. Ask us about it if you've never used it. We can demo it. And then what about the gateway? We saw some pretty interesting stuff on the gateway updates too.
Yeah, so like if you go into the cloud, occasionally you'll see some new features pop up, right? So we're now in the gateways, we're supporting IDS and IPS. So in intrusion detection system and intrusion prevention system. So this will actively monitor and block, I would say, like malicious traffic. So you have that extra security built into the gateways now. So you'll see that. Where was that, Jeff? It was
It was under
under
configure gateway, or
yeah.
so it was under the. You can see it under. Um, let's see, under manage gateway. You can see that's where you see
That's
that,
it.
and then under configure, you have an option to actually limit
Use
applications.
yeah. So just really talk in regards to IPS, right? So if you go to configure and then you go to security services. Under security services, you'll find something called Cloud Brink, which was I would call them an alliance partner, an eco alliance partner. Cloud Brink brings in like zero trust networking, so that's something that you can use and enable. But we also have now IPS system in there, and you can enable it there, and then you can start using it. So you can do detection mode or prevention mode under that particular configuration interface.
Okay.
And then what you're just talking about is under configure, you go to application control, right?
Yes, and I have that. I have a screenshot of that. And then from there, you can actually like select different classes of applications and then limit traffic. Right. That's something that we've
Right.
been being asked for a long time now.
Yeah, so you can choose like streaming, email, business management, security, finance, and insurance. And you can choose those specific things, online gaming, sports. You can choose those things and you can prioritize that traffic.
Yeah, so through the gateway. Now, are there any notes how this affects performance? Like if I enable detection, does it reduce performance by X amount, or there's no notes on that?
There was no notes on that, but you mean in regards to when you enable it on a
Gateway.
you are you talking about gateway
Well, I mean, the
performance?
enabling these features are going to have some sort of performance hit on the gateway, but these gateways are so overbuilt, right? They're like they have so much processing and memory power that I don't know if it's going to actually affect it, right?
That I don't that you won't see anything.
You
I
don't
mean,
think
you
so?
won't see a
Okay.
performance degrade. No, not at all.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Like you're saying that like anything that we put out, we over design, I would
Yeah.
say, and we use high end components for our APs, our switches, and our gateways and our cameras. So yeah, no, you're not gonna notice that at all.
Well, I'm going to try it right after this. I'm going to enable it and see. I'm going to do a speed test. And I'll let you guys know.
Do it.
So yeah, some good features. Anything else in there, Brian?
No, I think that was it. There's a lot of features being added for the cameras.
Yeah.
We will be launching an NVS system in March, so there you'll see a lot of features being added for that NVS system. Yeah, there's a number of things coming out that you'll see within like our release notes. But yeah, nothing as of right now that people can use other than things that we just talked about.
Yeah, nice. So that's the advantage of the cloud. You're not buying a static system; it's continuously being improved, right? You're getting updated features, better security, all this stuff through the cloud, and it's free to use for the most part. So it's a win-win for me. Like I don't see any reason why anybody would not want to deploy in the cloud. Although I get some comments on YouTube still that it's they just want they want to get your data or something. It's really not a concern if it's going to make your life easier to manage and set up that network and make it more secure.
Yeah. The data that's being not even collected, it's really being well, it's being collected for the user is the management data,
Right,
right? Like how much traffic is being used. Hey, I
right,
need to send a configuration file, stuff like
right.
that. We're not looking at, hey, what is your, we're not looking for your
We're not looking at
Facebook
your data.
login
Not
information.
looking at
Yeah.
your data because and by the way, the management data would be the same as an on-site controller would be basically pushing the access points or receiving, right? You're not looking at the data unless you ask it to. It's just for management and monitoring, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
All right, guys. Remember to like and subscribe. We'll be back next week. Brian